This video is gonna be good. I'm really excited. Listen, if your posts aren't converting like they used to, it's probably because you have really outdated content marketing advice. So today in this video, we're gonna bust the top ten worst myths, the biggest content myths. We're gonna bust them open, okay? I can't wait. So you're gonna want to bookmark this one. You're gonna want to save. You're gonna want to share. This is probably gonna be one of the most thorough ones when it comes to covering all types of content marketing advice for 2025. It is current. It is updated. This is research backed. So follow along. Okay, what qualifies me? Why should you listen to me? Well, I've been posting on the internet for almost 25 years. I started on Xanga, which was founded in 2000. I then moved on to MySpace, which many of you then jumped in. So I'm about 4 years ahead of most millennials, I guess. And then I went on to Tumblr and then Blogspot and then WordPress.com, then WordPress.org, then Twitter, then Facebook, then Instagram, then Snapchat, etc., etc. Every type of social media platform that existed in 2000 and beyond, I jumped on it. So I consider myself very much an early adopter. I always saw the internet and content creation as a means to an end, but also just it is the end. There's some people who are only creating content as a means to an end can get caught up in the frustration of things not working. But if content is your end, meaning you love what you do, you love to share, you love and post, you post what you love talking about, you have so many more years ahead of you. Like you have longevity embedded into your journey. Okay, so myth number one. Post every day or you'll be forgotten. This is not true, of course. And you're seeing me in the middle of a YouTube experiment, which I'll talk about in another video, where I am posting every day, but for data, for research, for analytics. This is not something that you need to do. And sometimes if you're just posting daily without a clear format or storyline, you're just going to burn out. And you're also going to train your audience to kind of scroll past you because they get overwhelmed not having read or kept up with everything that you've posted. For example, I know you've opted into a newsletter and you were like, ooh, like their premium or their freemium offer was so good. I want to be on this list. And then within 72 hours, you have 5 emails, of which none you've opened. So now the next email they send 2 days later, you don't even want to open that until you go back to the first one. And so that content overwhelm of having so much thrown at you at once, that's what you're doing to your audience if you're posting every day. Now, the way that you can avoid that, if you are someone that you love consistency, you're trying to build up volume, making sure, like I said in yesterday's video, you delineate the type of content format. So one is word heavy or verbal heavy, and then one is kind of passive. It doesn't require much for people to be able to consume it so that they can just kind of like enjoy it without having to think much. Okay, content myth number two is that more followers equals more money. Like I stated yesterday, the average six-figure entrepreneur or creator has less than 10,000 followers on Instagram or any of their main platforms. And it's so important to stress that because so many of us want to go viral before we figure out the community that we can bring value to. And if you build deep versus wide in the beginning, you can like really build the LTV, the lifetime value of a single person into the multiple thousands. So rather than say, I want 1,000 people to purchase this $10 download, you could say, I want 10 people to pay me 10,000, and it's a different type of way that you show up. Now you're not worried about having to chase trends or do what everyone else is doing because you're attracting a different caliber of a person or a community member. Myth number three, value content will always win. The age, the era, the phase, the season of leading with value not only has died, is dying, will be gone for a while. No one can, your credibility is no longer associated with value. You can research something and then just repost it under your account. and people will think it's yours because, people don't fact check. So value really is meaningless if you're not associating it with your own POV, your own lived perspective, your own specific testimonies and journeys, your own just unique way of doing things. I think what really helped me is that when I was becoming kind of like a visible entrepreneur, I was showing people that you could do it while traveling and while not having a major team and while not having really expensive overhead and while not like I just kept going against what everyone said I was supposed to do. And I found that I had more freedom and more flexibility and more happiness. So I'm like, okay, let me just keep doing it this way. And I think it's important to show that and talk about that side. And there was a piece of content that went really viral like 2 or 3 years ago, where I talked about how I never worked for more than 2 days in a row, or sorry, 3 days in a row, I think. Like Monday, I would take off. Tuesday and Wednesday, I worked. Thursday, I took off. Friday, I worked. Saturday, Sunday, I took off. So it was it 3 days a week. But I showed people like I would have my weekends during the week because I wanted to disrupt like what people thought about how the work week should look. I don't believe we're meant to work 5 days in a row. That's crazy to me. I don't remember the last time I've worked 5 days in a row because that doesn't sit right with my spirit. Now, being on a walk and recording a video for Instagram, that's not work. That's just living. And that's why it's so important that you need to love what you do so that you don't feel like every time you're doing something for work, it feels like such a grind because there's such fluidity in how I approach work versus content creation. But yeah, I just don't believe that you should work 5 days in a row. I think especially if you're a creative, you're someone who exerts a lot of energy into things on the internet. Like it's a lot. I even changed how I did my coaching days. Like in the past, I think yeah, my calendar was like Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday. And then it became Tuesday and Thursday. And now it's just Wednesday. I only take coaching calls on Wednesdays. And what I didn't realize, it's such a small change, but maybe I would have one client on Tuesday, three clients on Thursday, and just the type of brain space I had to be in because not only am I taking in their issues and their problems and doing really complex problem solving for someone else's business, it puts me in a completely different headspace. But imagine if I'm doing like 6 hours of deep work of complex problem solving, I am in flow. And every coaching call builds onto the next. And so I have more to give because I'm like, this is the day meant for that. And it means I can have a really good workout and walk in the morning. I could nourish my body with really healthy food so that I don't get tired. I'm high energy for them. And yeah, that really made a difference. So in between that, I know that I have 6 days to just exist, to live, to create for me, to travel, to do what I want. And I think that part is also really important. Okay. Myth number 4 is that the algorithm hates me. We touched on this yesterday, but the algorithm is neutral. It's designed to please viewers, not creators. As much as there was creator bonuses and there's creator accounts, like Meta launched that creators, user account to show that, you know, to give information for people that are creators, like here's how to stay on top of things and, here are all the updates. But ultimately, the platform itself is built for users. So if users are not searching the very specific, quirky, random thing that you posted about, then yes, it will not get much reach because it's really hard for you to go viral off of something that people aren't actually searching for. And we talked about this yesterday. Sorry, I keep referencing that, but yesterday's video ties really good into this one. So if you didn't see it, go watch it. What was it about again? The algorithm, how the bad algorithm is a good thing. Yeah. But I talked about this concept of interest-based media. So whatever people are searching for, actively watching, liking, and sharing, that is what the algorithm is associating with whatever your content is currently doing. So you do have to be a little bit more intentional about using words that people are actually searching for or people are actually saying in their everyday language. I also talk often about dumbing down our language when it comes to marketing, which doesn't sound fun if you're an intelligent person. It's not exciting to feel like you have to talk at a fifth grade level when you want to talk at a higher level, but it actually does work because when you even think about the last time you Googled or chat GPT'd something, you didn't use really complex language. You probably said oven hot, how? Band-Aid, whoops, what did like we talk like cavemen when we're Googling. So we have to literally reverse the role when we think about other people. Okay. Myth number 5 is that short form is the only way to grow. That is false. Okay. Long form, which you're seeing me do now, builds deeper trust and much higher conversion rates, especially in 2025. Now, I have launched so many digital products. I have launched courses, academies, masterminds, retreats, um, just an array of things, downloads. Gosh, if I like ever looked, you'd probably see like 15 different types of products because I love the process of creation. And through all of that, I recognize it's the people that have gone the deepest with me that are actually buying. Yes, you can convert someone who discovers your page for the first time and immediately buys. Maybe that's 10% of your audience, but there's probably a good 40 to 50% that they're just repeat buyers. They buy every single thing I create because they trust it's going to be quality and it's going to be interesting and it's going to be good and it's going to be unique. And so I've created this level of not only depth, but safety and trust with people who don't have to gamble on their money. Like, I don't know if this is worth it. No, Glow did it. I know it'll be good. I recently had a client that I've worked with probably for the last, yeah, it's been 4 years now, but she's opted into 3 different programs. This is a 5-figure investment over 3 years. And she recently joined the Life Leap, which is like a year-long retention-based kind of like, you're getting live coaching, you have access to 40 tutorials and videos and lectures. You also have the private app, our community, our network, invites to events, all that kind of stuff. But she joined inside of our app and she was like, dang, so like I knew it was going to be good because it's you glow, but dang, this is good. And that is so affirming because I do care about the quality of the products that I create. And I also know that when I continue to go above and beyond and over deliver for people that have supported me in the past, like it continues to be this ongoing relationship that continues to grow. And they also recognize that I'm not staying stagnant. Like every year, they can expect a little bit of growth, a little bit of difference, a little bit of nuance, a little bit of the optics. I don't know. Like they can see that I'm not staying stuck at the same place and I'm doing things a little differently. I'm showing up differently. I might have upgraded my camera or something, but they see that I'm constantly investing in myself and I'm not just like cruising at this level because I've made it. And that is also what your people want to see because they want to hop on a moving train, not someone who kind of parked at a certain point because they got, you know, comfortable. Like, oh, this is much further than I thought I would go. So let me just enjoy the view from here. And mind you, I have had moments where I just parked and I was like, yeah, let me live life. Let me enjoy what I did. And that's really important too. But no matter what, there will always be incremental growth each year. Okay. Myth number 6 is you need to be on every platform. You should have your username snatched on every platform, yes. But if you are trying to split your energy across 7 different platforms, especially if you're a solopreneur, you are operating the marketing department of your company on your own, absolutely false. Again, you are watching me optimize one single platform at a time. So with YouTube, I'm probably dedicating the most amount of time, energy, and effort to this platform than any of my other platforms. No matter how consistent I may look on those platforms, everything is autopilot. On this one, I'm actively saying, okay, what should I talk about? What makes sense? What are people searching? What do I think is just a good video to watch? And this is the first time I'm really doing this. I've never, uh, with this much consistency, this much volume, this much depth, this much length, showing up on a platform like this. And for by the end of this month, there will be 31 long form videos, which is dozens of hours of like people could watch all the videos of this month and feel like they've taken a course from me. Like that's not only the length, but the quality of what I'm sharing on these videos. And they will be so primed for any offer that I present versus someone that watches 12 reels on Instagram. They're like, oh, yeah, that's fun. That's cute. That's cool. But someone who's sitting down, putting me on their TV, which I love when you guys do that, and you're watching like all of this, and I'm coming with you to get ready for the day and to prepare your dinner and to go on your walks. Like we're building an intimacy that is creating a level of trust. And yeah, you can't just you can't build that on every platform at the same time. So figure out a platform that you do want to actually be consistent on, build out a strategy, and give your all to that platform for at least 1 month. And I think when you figure out what works for that platform, you can now figure out how do I want to batch and automate the process and then figure out a system for another platform. But I think right now, for example, LinkedIn, I ain't nobody over there. I need to figure out I'm still in the probably the R&D process, research and development process of what my personal brand can be. And I think it's also important to recognize that you can have a different voice on each platform, and all of your platforms will be singing the same song. So the melody, I don't know, the snare, drums, there's percussion over here. You got the piano, and I don't know, but like it's all making a beautiful sound and it's all to the same rhythm and song, but there's a different part of each instrument that's being played in each platform. So with Threads, I am very much I'm a bully, a bully of Threads. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I just leaned into that voice maybe like not even 2 months ago, y'all. It's crazy, not even 2 months ago. And I'm gonna tell you what influenced it. We were at, so we met Stefan and I, my husband and I, we had the Life Leap boot camp, and it was in Bosnia. And there were 4 women there from our Life Leap community. And so what we're doing is we're helping them batch and film content series. So they're creating episodic series for Instagram, which leads to their offer. And there was one day, sorry, Jackie, but she wanted to look at her script. And I listen, a script is a good thing. We need a script to kind of outline the idea, but I wanted her to speak from the heart, not from the script. And so there was a part where I knew she had it. And and I say I have an alter ego. So there's Glow, who's the cheerleader, and there's Gloria, who's the coach, kind of the drill sergeant. And she wanted to look at her laptop, and I slammed it down and I said, "Fight for it. Fight for it." For it, for it. You got it. Let's go. Yeah, I think Stefan was like, you're going to scare everyone. But later on, of course, she was grateful. Like she needed that level of pushing because sometimes when we rely on a crutch, we never learn how to develop our voice. So once I realized how effective Gloria was, it was a rat. It was a rat. I was like, oh, I see how much Gloria is needed. Glow is cutesy, friendly, fun. Everyone loves Glow, okay? But Gloria, she doesn't let you. You can't slick slate. You can't. You can't. I want to say slack. The slay and slick. I was like, you can't slay off? No, you can't slick off. You can't slack off. Here's the thing. I love my ADHD brain. I love it so much. And even in these moments where it has like glitches, I've learned, especially since my diagnosis, to just laugh at it and have so much compassion for it because you don't understand. For 32 years, I would be so frustrated and so upset when those things happened, which is why getting a diagnosis is so important because your self-love just skyrockets. Okay, so Gloria doesn't let you slack off, and Gloria also sees your potential maybe a little bit clearer than you do. So once I realized in person how much that voice was effective, I said, okay, let me see how it translates online. And so on Instagram, I did a post where I said, I'm a 15-year entrepreneur, and here's what I would say to bully you into believing in yourself. And that post is also very like, I was actually really afraid. I thought it was a little bit mean because I think there's a fine line between being like a challenger and just being mean. And I didn't want to be mean-spirited, but I did speak from like the depth of my heart of like, no, for real, like stop the excuses. And I remember I was speaking to someone and she was like, oof, she was like, this glow is a little rough, but I like it. Like, we shouldn't rely on validation externally, but it's sometimes you need it to test the boundaries of how far you should go. So now that reminds me, I need to do another post like that soon. But again, that was a test. I pushed my boundary a little further. And all that to be said is that now my strategy for threads is to be the bully that believes in you. And it's working. I'm averaging 3 million views a month on my platform on threads and my conversion rate is higher than ever. Like I was trying to think of like what the stats were. Like my digital product arm will do over 30K this month just digital products, things that I've built once and I don't have to touch again, things that are fully automated to where you buy it and it sends it to you immediately. Like that is still insane to me. I don't care how many six-figure months I've had in the past. I still get excited that like I have this opportunity to create things from my brain, put it out on the internet, change people's lives, and live a good life for myself. That in itself should get you up out your seat. Okay. Myth number 7. Are we on 7? Yes. Okay. Trends are the fastest path to virality. Of course, that is false because I think trends make you blend in. And having your own format is what makes you stand out. And like I said yesterday, you want to have two kind of like signature formats for yourself, formats that feel simple and sustainable enough to where you don't have to recreate or reinvent the wheel every single time you post. So, like I mentioned, one of my formats is verbally taking my, sorry, is words, taking my threads that are performing the highest. So, like, that's like top of funnel, and then repurposing the best on Instagram, which then in the Instagram carousel leads the last slide to my digital product, the Creative Reset, mycreativereset.com. Check it out. And like it almost feels illegal how simple it is and how, it's not fully automated because I still have to manually screenshot the threads and put it on Canva, but it takes 15 minutes at most because what I also did is I have the same 3 color gradients. I don't have to experiment with colors anymore, which used to take me hours. I was so particular about the colors that I use and how it matched. And because I'm only letting myself change up my feed twice this year, I can now just like show up with the content and not have to reinvent the wheel. And now, if you also go to my page, it looks so pretty. You might say or think that a pretty feed is not actually necessary or important or that it does anything to convert. And I would argue that it does. Every time I come across a new platform, sorry, a new page that I'm like interested in, I saw their reel on the Discover page, and now I'm going to their page to see like, is this someone that I want to opt into their world? because this reel was so good or so interesting, or I'm curious for more. Let me go to their page. At a glance, the first thing people do is not your profile picture, it's not even your title. It's like bird's eye view of all of you. And I call them kind of like chapters. And so you see the last 9 posts that someone has posted, or they might have the pinned posts, but you get a glance of like 9 of their most recent posts. And visually, if they speak to you, if it looks curated to a degree where it's like there's ease and excitement and curiosity and joy, there's intention in their posts. I'm like, yes, follow. Like I love it shows that you're considering the user experience. Curation is consideration, and that's a part of your funnel. That's a part of your brand experience. That's a part of your aura and your energy that people can come to expect. And the way that I also create my digital products and design them, people also know to expect a high level of graphic design because I've set that bar and standard for myself. And it adds to the experience of consuming something. So it matters to me. So, yeah, I say all that to say, I don't know why I say all that, but I said it. Woo woo. Okay. Myth number 8. You have to share everything to be authentic. This is probably one of the most common things that people are concerned about when they're wanting to be vulnerable, but they're still afraid to take that, I don't know, to take that step into that vulnerable story that they don't want to share. And here's the thing about authenticity and oversharing. You can be authentic and still have boundaries and maintain privacy and even a little bit of secrecy because oversharing can repel your ideal clients, and intentional vulnerability and transparency is what builds trust. So even on this playlist where it's called Creative Clarity for Entrepreneurs, 2 videos were incredibly vulnerable, and they were both shared within the first week of me doing this daily YouTube series. One was about almost dying, and the second one was about earning $500,000 from a $27 product. They were both vulnerable in different ways, but both of them I cried. So um, it was very, it was very interesting to have published them. And it was also very interesting to have to be perceived through the lens of vulnerability. And the way people, I think, spoke to me after, there was like this deep reverence. Like you could tell that maybe passive followers or passive, um, yeah, passive people in my community now leaned in. They're like, okay, this is, how did I miss this? Wow, Glow, like you survived all of that and you're just still here smiling in our faces. What? Like I'm locked in for whatever's next. And there's like just this deeper level of pull because they saw me just like bare my heart in a way that was not easy and had no end game. Like it's just, this is my story and I want y'all to share it, okay? Or I want y'all to hear it. So if there's something that you're afraid to share, um, fear is interesting. Fear could either be an invitation to actually just do the thing and share it, but it could also be caution that maybe you are not ready. Because sometimes you invite people into your story that don't have the same level of sensitivity around the topic that is required for you to talk about it. So don't force yourself to talk about something that you're still processing yourself. And I always say that you know you're ready to share something when you have the lesson. But if you're talking about it and there is no lesson yet, then keep that to your heart. Hold it close to your heart because yeah, it's still for you to process. Okay, myth number 9. We're almost done, and I'm actually going to add 3 bonus tips at the end, so don't click away. Myth number 9 is that content should sell directly. So you should just say, hey, this is launched, link in my bio. Yes and no. You can still do that and it's fine. Of course, that type of content will get 3 views and zero point 0.5 likes. But here's the thing that I'm recognizing. Your biggest clients will often silently observe, purchase, and then get to work. They are not loud and proud in your notifications. They're just doing the work offline. And now you have to be a little bit more subtle and almost intentional with how you're selling. So, for example, and I'm very, I'll just give you my funnel. But if you sit on a 30-minute video of me just like sharing free game, and there's a $47 upsell to mycreativereset.com, you're more inclined to want to get it because you're like, dang, this woman knows her stuff. She's been on the internet for over 2 decades. I learned a lot just from this video. I would love to have something tangible to take away and work through on my own. So people are naturally being sold to just by me sharing. And that in itself is how you sell. Selling isn't so much link in bio, click here, and it can be a part of it, but now it has to come through the lens of like generosity and the lens of here's what can help. And if you don't have a budget, check out this book anyway. And so much of my early sales when I had a $2,500 course. I remember one person, she reached out, said, she couldn't afford to, but was just like excited for the opportunity in the future. And I said, yeah, girl, like, please, don't stress. And, by the way, check out a couple of these books. Like, I think it'll at least get you going or like something to work on it in the way. I didn't try to pressure her or guilt her or make her feel bad. I was like, girl, like, I get it. I know what that's like. And next thing you know, she purchased. I was like, wait, you just said she's like, actually, I came on some money, so I figured I might as well. Believe her. Like it is what it is. But I think that feeling of having it be something that they decided on versus them feeling pressured to do something. So people will know when they're tired of their own BS, they're tired of their own excuses. They've tried everything already for themselves and they still don't have the answers they're looking for. They will eventually come to you. And there have been people that have said, Glow, it took me 6 years to afford your boot camp or 7 years to be able to come to one of your retreats. But I always knew it was always on my vision board. It was always part of the plan. So don't give up on your people. Like some of them are budgeting really intensely. Some of them are trying their best. And yeah, like let it be a process. Not everyone is going to convert on day one. And myth number 10, if your content is good, people will find it. We all know that's a lie. Discoverability is a skill now, and it's a skill and not a reward. You have to be so deliberate about keywords, SEO, repurposing, even your hook, which was something we'll talk about it a little bit later, but um, getting in front of the right eyes and not waiting for the algorithm to bless you. Because I think we just say, oh, this is so good that it's just going to find the right people. But it's also saying, you know what? The type of people that I want to be in my community also follow this magazine's page. And so I'm just going to make a point once a week, 5 times a week. I'm just going to leave a really thoughtful or heart-centered comment on something that they post on their Instagram. And eventually, your comment is going to get pinned, or it's just going to get a lot of visibility and likes. And I can't tell you the amount of times that's happened to me. I don't do it intentionally. In the past, when I was a travel blogger, I definitely did like big travel accounts and big travel magazines. Um, but yeah, it's also really cool. Like there would be a week where I didn't post anything, but I am leaving comments on stuff, and I'll see that my comments have 10,000 likes, like on that single comment. And maybe I leave a funny joke or I just leave value. And those 10,000 likes on my comment on someone else's page that has 1 million followers, you can believe absolutely that it converted to at least a few hundred followers, which is crazy because that's still, yeah, it still blows my mind almost how simple that can be. Yo, we did it. Okay. Now that we're done with the myths, let's talk about 3 bonus tips. Okay. Tip number 1, I want you to build for search first, then social. So your content, your best content, your cornerstone content should be answering the questions that people are typing into Google every single day. Okay. And if you're just saying, let's say you help people lose the 10 stubborn pounds, 10 pounds of stubborn weight. If you are Googling, or sorry, you're creating content and you're talking about here is the protein breakdown and the macros for why you should have this much carbs and that. I don't know, but all of a sudden you sound so technical and no one's actually searching for the thing that you're actually delivering. And maybe that information is actually really valuable. Like maybe that is something that people need to hear and know if they're trying to lose weight, but you're saying it in a way that's so clinical and the way that people aren't actually searching. So if you're just talking about maybe like a calorie deficit and just moving your body more and prioritizing um, nutrient dense food and produce, and I don't know, you just got to shift the way that you're talking so that if someone Googled something, your Instagram content can now be featured in Google results. Okay, so that is wild to me. And it's actually really cool. Bonus tip number two, and this is something that I probably haven't done ever except for this year, and I'm already seeing the benefits of it, is you want to test hooks like a scientist. If you have one piece of content that you know is valuable, you know it's good, you know that if it reaches the right people, it can blow up, but you don't know how to start it. Yes, ChatGPT, you can ask for 2 to 3 types of hooks, but what you can also do is use trial reels to attach a different hook in front of that same video and send it out as 3 different trials. And then based on the one that performs the highest, you now share it to your feed. This approach feels, I don't know, it can feel like a lot. I hear you. If you're like, Glow, I'm not doing all that for 10 people to find me and follow me. And I get it. But if you were to, and I don't know how you could do this math, but let's say every person in your every follower on your Instagram is worth $2. And let's just say, for example, and yeah, and then you got to 10,000 followers. And so if you do that math, if on average every follower comes out to an average of $2, you would be able to quantify the value of one person joining your community, and you would be more excited to get them, locked in. And someone who actually values what you do, values what you say, values what you have to share, it's really important. And I think we have to remember that it is a privilege to have people opt into our world and say, yes, I like what you're about. Yes, I want to know more. Yes, what's going on in your life? It's cool. Like we're all kind of creating our own reality shows, and it's never been this easy and this accessible in the past. Okay. And bonus tip number three, I want you to create a hero piece of content every single month. And hero content is just like cornerstone content, evergreen content, something that you put your best energy into. You even record it on cinematic mode on your iPhone. But I want it to feel like a pillar piece of content. And of course, you can repurpose it into smaller clips. If you have a video podcast, this is also an example of hero content. And I also think you should post hero content once every 9 posts, because again, you want people to see at least one hero content on the most recent 9 posts on your feed. And yeah, I think, let me take a breath. It's a lot, y'all. It was a lot. Mm. Something I forgot to mention. That's another video. Let me wrap this up because this I feel like is long enough. But overall, 2025 can absolutely be your highest earning year. And I want you to stop following recycled content advice from, yeah, just from things that worked in 2020. Like you have to get strategic and intentional and honest about what no longer moves the needle. And we can't be lazy about our approach either. We could have been lazy in 2020 because everyone was very online and everything went viral. But we just have to redefine who we are and who we want to be and what our personal brand ultimately stands for. Okay. But learn to work with the algorithm and not resent it because it can be your co-conspirator and your collaborator if you just show up and post what people are searching for. Okay? That's all I got, y'all. If you enjoyed this video, you know the CTA is coming. You from a mile away, y'all. There's lots more creative content, just tips, lessons, wisdom at mycreativereset.com. It is 90 days of content clarity, and it's for the people who want to get paid. Either you want to get paid or you don't. Either you want to make more money or you don't. And I built it with you in mind because I know what it's like to have tons of ideas unlaunched and to be sick of yourself. So if you're done with this feeling of like I I don't know what's wrong with me or I can't figure out what to do next, go to the money section of this book and you can make money within 7 days. I make it so clear, y'all. Okay, thank you for watching. This was a fun one. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it, like it, subscribe to it. That's too many commands. Y'all already watched it, so that's enough for me. Bye.